my love of spaceships, UFOs, and all that stuff, I just kind of was like, whatever, you know. Now I still believe that that stuff is happening, and I think that they're just demons. So it's I guess that's why I don't really look at it. I just go, yeah, the UFO agenda, okay. So therefore, you know, we're gonna be told that there's aliens coming from space, but really they're just demons. Because I mean, why would they want to take you up on a spaceship just to do twisted surgeries and stuff on you and have sexual intercourse or whatever, or try to mingle their seed or make hybrids? I mean, why would they do all these things? Oh, I know, because Genesis 6 tells us what they did. It's the same thing. But a lot of these UFO shows, or there's even I've heard, even listened to a lot of podcasts that talk about MUFON and all this stuff, and they're so dead on trying to find. Oh, we got to find out. We got to have these. The government's got to tell us about these UFOs, and it's like, yeah, they'll talk about how they're Christians, and the next minute they'll be talking about New Age theology. It's like, whatever. They'll be channeling things, or they'll be talking about how you got to be hypnotized and all this stuff. It's like, really? That's not a Christian. That's a New Age person. It's just weird. It's like, I don't understand how some people can call themselves Christians sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, what? Why are you a Christian? Why even call yourself a Christian? I don't know. I personally get fed up with this cultural Christian crap where everyone's a Christian. Meanwhile, we just accept anything. It's like, whatever, you know? As you can see, it really gets to me when I see this crap. It's just a bunch of crap. People will tell you they're a Christian, and then the next minute they're all getting drunk. Or, hey, it's Christmas, we're celebrating Christ. And then the following week, they're getting drunk and they're talking about, oh, they want to change their life as they're getting drunk. What is New Year's, really? New Year's is a way to completely go against everything that they said on Christmas the week before. It's just ridiculous. It's a laughing stock as far as I'm concerned. So these Christians that are cultural, that's pretty much what they are. They're basically a person in a garage saying that they're a car when they're not, from what you can see. Well, anyway, that's my rant. I don't know why I got on that. But a lot of these New Age shows or whatever that talk about UFOs and all this stuff, they want to get to the truth, but Jesus is never in that. Or if Jesus is, it's the Catholic Jesus. It's not the real Jesus. And I'm not trying to say Catholics don't believe in Jesus. I'm just saying that at the top, the Vatican, and the people in the Vatican, as far as I'm concerned, not Christian. They're basically a satanic cult from my point of view, okay? And I've actually been Catholic. And I've seen the religion, and I didn't see anybody who really was there to really want to get to know Jesus. They were there just because, yeah, it's Sunday. We got to do our thing. We got to check the box, and then we can go home. And most of the people I knew that were Catholic, that were around me, were drunk, partying all the time. So I guess they must have washed their sins away with that alcohol. So anyway, whatever. I'm just getting crabby now thinking about that. Getting to the point of this story, it's a creepy story, yes, but it kind of ties in, like I said, with the UFO thing and the underwater bases and all that stuff. And also, there's a video game that I played at one point that was called. They didn't call it this. It was basically this. The story, the Shadow over Innsmouth. It just was called something else. I don't know why they changed the name, but they called it The Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. And I don't think anyone that's going to listen to this is going to even play the game, but I'm just saying it was a original Xbox and PC game, and it was a first-person shooter. And when I say first-person shooter, it's not really, because you really don't get a gun in the game, and you don't go out killing like people in the game. You're really shooting at these fishmen, and whenever you do get bullets, they're very hard to find. It's kind of the weapon use in the game is kind of realistic. Because in reality, most people don't just get their hands on just 100,000 guns and 100,000 loads of ammo, you know. In the game, you really don't have that much stuff. And you even have to apply bandages and med kits to yourself, to the parts of your body, even the bones that you break in the game, which is really kind of interesting. But it's just kind of it was an interesting story, and it's kind of cool because I got to play this story that I just read to you, you know, or talked to you about. So I got to physically experience it. And it's not like some card game or whatever, because I don't play these magic games. There's all these people that say, "Oh, I played the card game." I don't care about all your cards and your tarot cards and whatever that is, because that's pretty much what it is. A lot of these games, the Illuminati game or Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering, all these things, I'm sorry, but that is sorcery. Yeah, and this is coming from a person who played a first-person shooter game, whatever, judge me however you want, but I'm not saying I'm playing it right now. This was back in the day. But my point is those games, you're basically doing magic or incantations or whatever when you're doing the game. It's just the people that are into those games are just not. They're all into wizardry and magic and stuff like that. That's just sorcery. All that stuff the Bible says have nothing to do with all of that. So I don't know what kind of a Christian really plays that. I disagree with that. Some of you might play that. I don't agree with that. But when I played this game, it was a video game and it wasn't a card game, because I know there's a card game out there. But it's just basically you're in the story that I just explained, and it's just more in detail with some added parts because it needed to have more action or whatever. But you get to see all this stuff or whatever, and you get to see that there's creepy things behind, you know, because in the town there's a lot of boarded up windows and stuff, and in behind those windows you find out that Shoggoths, which are the things from At the Mountains of Madness, the creatures that could change shapes, basically like the movie The Thing, kind of a blob kind of creature with eyes all over it and tentacles, and can grow arms whenever it needs to, or grow eyes when it needs to. It's just really gross looking. But you get to see that, and these creepy little starfish that are like acidy, and it's just all this wild stuff. And eventually you get to shoot at Dagon, I'm not kidding, on a boat, on a government Navy ship. You actually get to shoot at Dagon, like the giant fish god comes up out of the water, and you actually get to shoot at it. And while you're, as well as you're trying to stay alive, because of the deep ones, the other fish creatures are coming up out of the water and attacking the ship at that one point. But you end up in the game at the bottom of the sea in this city that I was talking about, and you actually get to physically walk through this city with these fish people in it, and it's all this creepy stuff. It's pretty. The ending of that story is pretty mind-boggling, but it does have a bad ending because your character goes insane and kills himself at the end, which is exactly kind of like most Lovecraft stories. In the real Shadow over Innsmouth story, the main character, he basically figures out that he is related to the Marsh family, which were these fish people. And then he embraces it and basically becomes one of them eventually. So it's kind of like all for nothing. He goes through this whole thing and gets the government involved and everything, and then he finally realizes at the end that he's actually one of these people. And then he turns into one of them and goes down and lives with his great-great-grandmother because they live forever at the bottom of the sea. It's just strange stuff, but I never said it was, good Christian reading material. I was just saying this because this is what I was kind of into back in the day, and I don't know whether I'm doing any good even talking about this stuff. I kind of feel bad talking about it because I feel like, I'm talking about worldly things, and I'm a Christian, I should be talking about Christian things. And I'm relating it to the Bible, and this is the kind of stuff that the world is putting out, okay? So this is what a lot of people are into. A lot of people are into stuff like Twilight or, Harry Potter and all this stuff. I mean, Fantastic Beasts, that's going to be a movie now, and that was made by the Harry Potter creator, and she's basically a New Age Satanist from what I can see. And I don't really agree with that stuff, and I'm just saying that this is the world that we live in. So let's be realistic. This is really around us. The Bible is realistic. The Bible talked about people literally in orgies, in Baal temples, and I mean just the wildest stuff. The Bible was honest with you. The Bible never lied to you. The Bible was straight up. I mean, it was hard. It was hard on you. It's hard on me. The Bible cuts deep, but it's supposed to make you repent, So that's the interesting part about it. And so that's why I kind of come at this from that angle, because I'm being real. And the same way that Jesus was real, He dealt with real world stuff. People having sex with other men who were married or whatever. People having sex out of wedlock. People, just whatever. He dealt with it. So that's what I'm doing. Now, a few things about Lovecraft himself is there's something I wanted to point out. I think I read some stuff about him that he's a racist. So I want to just let everyone know that he was, in some of these stories, if you read them, just keep in mind, he is a racist. H.P. Lovecraft was not a very nice guy. He was closed off to the world. He kind of kept to himself. He was kind of all to himself. He really shied away from people. He was an introvert. Basically, he didn't have nothing to do with people. Now, I'm not saying that I'm feeling sorry for him, because I'm not. He was a straight up racist, and I actually didn't like some of the stuff that he said in this specific story. He talked about how immigrants were basically bad. Like, a guy comes home married to a Chinese woman, and he talks about how that's actually a bad thing. Well, my wife is Filipino, so, hits a little home with me. So, but whatever. H.P. Lovecraft has passed away, and he's long gone, and whatever. But I really don't like the racism part that he has. He doesn't like black people. He doesn't like anybody, that's not, of course, the white perfect race, which is not really, because Caucasian means you're mixed with everything. So that's kind of a bunch of crap. If you enjoy this show, please feel free to share it. You can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, and most podcatchers. And if you'd like to support the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Spreaker or wherever you find this show. And for more information on this show, go to the Fringianity Underground podcast Facebook group and like us. Images will be posted there for this show and others as well. Please check Spreaker or wherever you get this podcast every Sunday evening for new episodes. And thank you for listening.